Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I've just come down this morning to get these outdoor tomatoes in once and for all. Got quite a lot spare, so I'll be giving those out to plot neighbours. But let's get across to the tomato bed and I'll show you what I've put in place to help keep these upright. So as you can see behind me, I've formed this grid with bamboo canes, and I've got individual pots to plant the tomatoes in, and then what I do is I take off the lower leaves and I've got a clear area where I need to water and feed. I did a similar structure last year in the other bed for the tomatoes, but because we get quite a lot of wind on this site, I will constantly try to prop them up. So I've done it slightly different this season, so hopefully I won't have the same problem. I'll take you in a little bit closer just to show you how I've done it. So as you can see, I've got 3 rows of 4. I was going to go 5, but I think that they're better placed and spaced there. And I've got 3 horizontal bamboo canes and a vertical one in each pot. But what I've done is I've put these cross members that will join each row just to give it a little bit of stability. So the idea being is that when I'm looking after them and picking out the side shoots if I can be bothered, I will go in this entrance, just a slight hop over that cane, and then I'm in and I can sort out what I need to sort out. But it just makes things a little bit sturdier than what I had last year. So what's going to go in first? Let's get down and have a look. So in this first row, we're going to try some Roma. I have put these outside before and they work quite well. So they're going to go in the front row. I am very wary of these points here. Now, I don't really want to cut these down because I won't be able to use the canes again, you know what I mean? They'll be too small. Anybody got any ideas what I can put on those? Is there something that I can buy from the garden centre? If I can't get hold of anything, something that'll stay on. I've thought of bottles and things like that, but they're only going to blow off. So anybody got any ideas for that? Or if there's a product out there for Ender canes, if you could send me a link in the comments below, that'd be great. So yeah, I'm going to get this. Yeah, I've been very, very cautious because last year I put out my tomatoes, and for those subscribers that were around, that have been around that long, you'll know that they sat in a bed over there and sulked. It almost turned purple because the soil was that cold. So what I did this year is I introduced this plastic, and basically underneath this there's soil, compost, there's a little bit of manure, and and then I've covered it and pinned them down, and they're almost like a grow bag. So hopefully that's kept the soil really nice and warm. So, and the nutrients are in there and they've been protected and not washed away by the rain. So hopefully, fingers crossed, these tomatoes go like Billy-O, as they say. Right, let's move on to the next row. Now I'm actually inside the structure. In this row, I'm going to put some money makers. So just remember to bob the label in that front one. There we go. These have been bursting to get out, but I've been very cautious. But they look healthy. The look of the size, so they should be able to look after themselves. There we go. There we go. Right, and on to the final row. And in this final row, we have got some Golden Sunrise. Bob the label in, so we don't forget. The other thing, or the other advantage to this black plastic as well, is it keeps the weeds down. And what I'm going to do, hopefully, is when I strip this down at the end of the season, I'll cable tie or tie all these bamboo canes together. I'll take these pieces of plastic up, give them a hose down, roll them up and put them away for next season. So all the holes will be ready prepared. What I've done is I've cut round each of these pots so that obviously they've got access to the ground, and then I've pushed them in. So hopefully I'll be able to use this again next season. Just looking and trying to pick the best plants out here. But the biggest is not always the best. I'm gonna go for you. Right, there we go. I was saying that I've got some tomatoes spare. I've got 1 or 2 containers, so I just might put a few in those as well, rather than give them all away. If some of these don't go so well, I've got some spare on the sideline. So now they're all planted, all we need is a water. Got my leg over. Get these from the front. I'll have to make sure I've warmed up and stretched off before I try to step over those canes when I'm watering of a morning. There we go. I think that looks great. One of the other things I wanted to get done, I've harvested the pak choi, so I got 3 out of 6, the other 3 blue, but they are very, very prone to doing that. So what I'm going to put in this place is this broccoli, and I never had much success with broccoli, but you know what, you've just got to keep trying, haven't you? This variety is called Marathon, so it's going in. I'm going to put 3 across here. Oh, my shoulder's giving me some right hammer. Yeah. Again, a really good firming in helps. Pick off these bottom dead leaves. As you see, they've been waiting very patiently to go in, so hopefully now they'll grow away nicely. As I say, it's not something that I've had a great deal of success with. You grow them for all that time and you do start to see those broccoli trees forming, and you think, right, I'll harvest those tomorrow, and you come back and they're blown, they're in flower. So I'll try and be a little more vigilant and see if we get any success. So I've got 2 of these spare I'll be giving them away. Ooh. There's 3 kale there that don't look too healthy. Right, I'll get those watered in and hopefully they'll grow. As you can see, the red cabbage or purple cabbage is doing really well, and the sprouts are looking mighty fine. So I started the day on a positive note. Now on to the negative. Having spoke to everybody, and thank you very much for all your messages of support and of confirming that yes, this is definitely a Allium leaf miner attack. So I'm now getting these out and burnt at the next opportunity. It's really sad, really, because I remember coming down on Boxing Day full of enthusiasm, thinking, am I going to get a great crop? And for this to happen. But as I said last week, I'll get the weeds later. As I said last week, it's all part of growing, and you're always learning. You know, it's the first time I've ever had Allium leaf miner on my plots, and as I say, I've been going for what, 9 years in January on this plot. So you've just got to try and learn from it. And I think what I'm going to do next season is, first of all, is try and miss the first cycle in the season. And I think what I'm going to do there is I'm going to hold off from sowing on my traditional Boxing Day, and I'll probably look to sow in January, sort of mid-January, and then try to put them out, hold them back until the 2nd of May, and fingers crossed I'll miss the first cycle. They'll be up and away, and I can net them over if we've not got them out before the 2nd cycle. So it's all a learning curve. If this didn't happen, I wouldn't have the knowledge that I've gained through you subscribers kindly messaging me and giving me the information. And particularly Amanda, very, very knowledgeable, knows her stuff. So yeah, I'm just putting it down to experience. It's not just me that's got this. Mick has got the same on his plot. I think Graham, next door but one, has suffered the same. So, and I hear across the country a lot of people are coming across the same disease. So let's not get too downbeat. Let's put it down to experience and let's plot on. Right, I'll clear this bed and I'll have a go at the next one. Now, I've been looking again at my leeks, and a lot of them seem to be stood quite upright, particularly the back rows there. And then I've got the odd one like this. Is that leaf miner? They look quite healthy. Bar the odd one. Here's another one. Is this leaf miner? There is a twist in that, but there's only 1 or 2 of those. Am I just kidding myself, or should they come out? I'm going to leave those for now, and I'd like you to get back to me if you possibly could. As I say, if you look at this leek, looks quite healthy, that one does, and then as I say, I've got one or two like that. So again, if you could let me know in the comments, that'd be brilliant. Everything else on the plot looks to be really in fine fettle, you know, really healthy. Brassicas there, the lettuce over in the bed there, and the dwarf beans look great. The brassicas in the brassica net where I've just put the broccoli all look great, nice and green. The grandkids planter is looking supreme. Lovely bit of colour coming on there. The potatoes are looking really nice and healthy. There's only one out of the whole lot where it's not come through. They're looking great. Everything green and lush. These in the bags, my new potatoes in the bags are looking really nice and healthy. The beetroot looks stunning. And then my spring onions. Now, have we got leaf miner damage in here? Let's have a look. Down we go, look, down here. Is that leaf miner? Again, we've got twisted leaves over here. Sorry about the weeds, bloody heck. Got all these in here. Yeah, so I don't think I'm getting away with that one. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to delay. Let me know in the comments what you think to my spring onions. These are ramrod. What do you think? Now I know for a fact over here they've not got into the shallots. These shallots are all still looking really healthy, really upright. And then I had a few spring onions. These were the red ones just here. So from that line on, they're all spring onions and they're all twisting. So I think that they have definitely got the dreaded disease. Have I pulled one out? Let's just pull one of the twisted ones out. This is twisted. Let's pull that out. Let's have a look. Is there anything on there? The leaves, there we've got like a slight tear there. Again, if you could let me know in the comments, I'm going to delay. I think these have to go, but I'm going to delay. So if you let me know in the comments, and I'll get them out straight away. In fact, you know what? I'm going to get them out because the shallots look really, really healthy. So do you know, I'm just going to sacrifice them. Guys, I've just started stripping the second bed out, and can anybody see that orange little grub type thing? Is that leaf miner? Is that a thrip? I don't know, but I'm sure some learned people out there will let me know in the comments. Right, I'll crack on stripping this final bed. Well folks, that brings us to the end of this midweek update. And as I say, it's good to get the munions bagged up and into that fire bin, ready for the next fire. I don't know if I'm holding on to lost hope for the leeks, but I'm sure you kind people out there will advise me in which direction to go. At least with leeks, I can get another sowing in for the later crop. So, but yeah, I look forward to your comments on that. I'd just like to thank everybody for all the comments that I got last week of support, because it is quite gutting when you've put all that work in for it to just go like that. But you know, that's the nature of the game, you know, and I'm sure you've all experienced these ups and downs yourselves. Anyway, I'm going to get myself off to work. I've still got lots to do, a lot of putting up to do in the greenhouse, getting it ready for my peppers, and giving it a right good clean out, and sorting that out. I've got to plant the garden up behind me there, and get that weeded and looking good. And as I say, I've got some squash and things to still go out, so there's plenty more to do, plenty more to see. So hopefully you'll join me at the weekend. Until then, take care, have a great week, and I'll see you at the weekend. Happy growing.